2024 was quite a crazy one, if I'm being honest. 24 rounds and 2 finals, and it all began round 1 versing Essendon, bright sunny day at the MCG. I was in attendance for this game, and to be honest, my expectations, I didn't really have any going into this season. I was just excited to see the boys get out there, see them play their first game. And yeah, I was just really excited. We had new recruits, Marbiel Chol, Jack Ginnivan, Nick Watson. And I was excited to see which players would stand out early on. And yeah, we put up a pretty good fight, if I'm being honest, up until maybe 3/4 time. We lost it a bit, but yeah, we definitely had good signs early on. Chol kicked 2 in his first game. Ginnivan kicked the first goal. Moore kicked 3. New recruit Massimo D'Ambrosio got 29 touches, racking them up for fun. So there was a lot of good signs. And we ended up going down by 24 points. So which was a bit disappointing. But I knew that if we kept that football up, we would win a few games during the season. And then on to round 2, playing the Melbourne Football Club at the MCG, our first home game of season 2024. And just from the word go, Melbourne looked switched on, and we looked the complete opposite. We didn't kick a goal until we kicked our first goal 4 minutes into the second quarter. It was 1 point to 5 goals 3, and we'd already lost it at quarter time, to be honest. Really no positives coming from that game. Maybe Nick Watson kicking his first goal, a little bit of a positive. Then again, we got our game plan all wrong. We were switching, we were playing defensively, and we just couldn't get the ball moving. And this one also was not a great game to attend, considering the result, that 5-8-38 to 14-9 93. So very disappointing on that one. Moving on to round 3, Easter Monday. I always have hope for Easter Monday. I absolutely despise Geelong, as most Hawthorn fans do. Geelong probably despise us the exact same way. I'd hope, obviously, Jack Gunston being omitted in this one, and Ned Reeves, Lloyd Meek coming in, I thought was a good opportunity for him. I thought Ned Reeves just wasn't getting it done in the ruck. And Lloyd Meek, I was excited to see him. And then from then on, he just never looked like he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was absolutely amazing. Obviously going down by 36 in this game was kind of crazy one, to be honest. I also attended this one with Lightning delaying the game at 3/4 time, which is something I definitely never really seen before, especially at a game. I've seen the lights go out, but I've never really seen Lightning delay it. And then we kicked the first 2 goals after the rain delay, and I thought, there might be hope here. And then Geelong were just too good in the end. So yeah, Lloyd Meek, obviously a positive coming out of that one. And yeah, on to round 4. We played the Pies in Gather Round. I remember watching this one with a couple of other people, and Guinea was a very interesting one. I wasn't sure how I was going to go against his old team, but he definitely lived up to the expectations. 2 goals, which was good to get us some snags against his old team, but unfortunately just wasn't good enough. We kind of didn't help ourselves very much in the first half, losing the game by around 35 at half time was a bit too much of a mountain to climb, and then we got within a goal, and then just couldn't find that one to get us over the line at the end. And this one really hurt because we were 0-4 and we were still trying to find our first win. And you knew it was just there, but we just couldn't reach out and get it, which was really disappointing. Hardwick kicking 4 as well, which was a real positive from this one. And Newcomb finally had his first real impact on the game, 26 disposals and 1 goal. Next, moving on to round 5, and personally going into this one, I wasn't very confident. There's not many times where I'm not very confident. I normally have hope, if anything, and we just didn't rock up. It's just as simple as that. We lost by 53 points, and probably one of the worst displays of football I've seen us play in a while. Half-time, it was manageable, but we were never in front. They kicked the first goal, and we just didn't get back in front after that. Carl Amon's 150th, I think it was, as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I thought, well, at least would have put in a little bit more of an effort for him, and unfortunately we weren't able to in the end. And it was just quite a bit of an onslaught. From halftime onwards, no real positive signs again either from that game. Our mids just really got belted, so 0-5. And this was probably the lowest of lows from the whole season, is where we were. Now, moving on to round 6, North Melbourne. And I still remember my dad, actually, before this game, his quote was, "If we lose this game, I am following the rugby and not the footy anymore." And I thought that was pretty funny. And I really had hope that we'd win this, because if we lost to North, well then that would just be disgraceful. And we ended up winning, and we showed a lot of positive signs. We showed how we can play football, and we weren't at our best still, but it was good to get a win on the board, and some confidence here. Dylan Moore kicking the 4 goals, and Nash and Newcomb starring with 32 disposals each. So it was nice to get a win on the board. And yeah, it was North, but it's good to get a nice start. Next, moving on to Anzac Day round, and we can probably skip this part. We know what happened. We lost by 76, and this was by far the worst game we played all season. 5-12, 42 to 18, 10, 118, just really disgraceful. We kicked the first 2 goals, I think, and then we just never looked good after that. We didn't really have any good players either, if I'm being honest. Moore was our best player, and he only got 25 touches and a goal, so that just proves it. Pretty disgraceful game. For me, I thought we would have had a bit of confidence coming off the round 6 win, but unfortunately just wasn't there. Next, moving on to round 8, Bulldogs. Now, I was actually excited to see us play this one. Obviously, Will Day coming back in last week. And yeah, I was really excited. I don't know why. I thought, obviously, coming off a 74-point win, I'm not really sure why I had hope for this game. But it just shows that when there's a will, there's a way. And obviously, the highlight of this one, Cal Shadir kicking 2 goals on debut. That was absolutely phenomenal there, and getting the win by 7 points after conceding the first 3 goals in the first minute definitely wasn't very good, very pleasing. But yeah, we managed to crawl back into it and win it by 7 points, which was a great win to get Bulldogs, who are a pretty talented side. So that's when I knew that maybe there was still chance this season. Moving on to round 9 at Lonnie. It was our first game at Launceston, so I was excited to see how he went. Obviously, Nick Watson and all of those players, new recruits, first game there. And Watson, 2 goals. He played very well. Amon 31, Newcomb 31. And just from the word go. I feel like we were switched on. And Lloyd Meek, absolute statement game. He had 46 hit-outs, 12 possessions and a goal. And that just crazy, really, from a ruckman who was not getting a game 4 weeks ago. Yeah, and just played absolutely phenomenally. And yeah, I think we definitely deserved to win that game. We played better than St Kilda. And yeah, winning it by 5 points was a real statement win to keep our season well alive. Next, moving on to round 10, and this was an absolute heartbreaker at the Adelaide Oval. Going down by 1 point, we were leading the whole game. We had a 41-point lead late in the third quarter. We were leading at 3/4 time by around, I think, 29 points, maybe 30 points. And Yardapulti on that day were just too strong. I guess they started to come back. We pooped our pants a little bit. And yeah, fair play to them. We just looked on top of them all day, and then they just came back. And here's a fact for you: they were leading that game for exactly 1 second of playing time. Next one, round 11. Brisbane Lions, obviously coming off that heartbreaking loss. I had faith that we were going to bounce back, and that's exactly what we did. It was just a good display all round. Jack Gunston kicking 4 goals, Chol kicking 3. We all just really worked together, I feel like, and this was our best game we'd played to that point. I feel like, even though 25 points to beat Brisbane, who were the runners-up last year, who are a really underrated side to beat, and obviously went on to win the premiership. So this was definitely an underrated win at the time, and I think everyone stood up. There wasn't really any bad players that game. And yeah, we deserved the win by 25 points there. Now, moving on to round 12 against Adelaide. I was in attendance for this game. This one was a really good one to watch. We were in front for the whole game. Kicked the first goal, kicked the last goal. Jack Gunston's, I believe it was 300th game. I'm not too sure, but I think, yes, it was. Obviously, they had all the legends in the stand up there. McAvoy, Stratton, Isaac Smith. And he ended up kicking 3 goals, which was great. And Dylan Moore kicked the 5. It was just a good day all round. We just played perfect football and ended up winning by 27 points. Round 13, this was the second best game I attended this season. As you can see by my video that I posted a couple of weeks back, it was, I think, the closest game I attended. And the atmosphere was just elite at UTAS Stadium against the Giants, 85-79. Luke Bruce rocking the baby there after he kicked the goal there to win us the game. That was amazing. Obviously, we weren't expected to win that game by any shot. And we were actually down by most of it. We were down for the whole middle 2 quarters, I think. From quarter time to 3/4 time, I think we were losing pretty much all of that. So, yeah, good to get the win there, and that was outstanding atmosphere, and that was a real statement win. And I think we were still really climbing the ladder and making a push for top 8. Next, moving on to round 14, Dusty's 300th game at the MCG. Going into this one, I was actually a bit nervous, obviously, because Richmond had a reason to just come out and just put us to bed early on, Dusty's 300. And to be honest, I thought that they were going to put on a show for him. I thought they were really going to test us. It was quite the opposite, to be honest. I feel like it was potentially one of the easiest wins we had. And kicking 4 goals 13, we could have easily made it a bigger margin. But yeah, the first goal they kicked, geez, boy, it was loud. 94,000 people in the house. I reckon about 75,000 Richmond fans in the house, and it was loud. But yeah, we ended up winning that game by 48 points and spoil Richmond's party. Moving on to round 15, we had the bye, obviously. So round 16, we faced the Eagles in Perth. I was just a little bit nervous coming off the bye. We know what the bye does to some teams there, but we were fine. I was actually in Bali at the time this was playing, so I found a sports bar to watch that in. The only negative I found about this game was James Sicily popping his shoulder out again, and when that happened, oh my god, my heart went into my mouth. It was so scary. I thought James Sicily, I didn't know what to think. I didn't want to think the worst, but then obviously him doing it earlier on in the season just got me a little bit nervous. But no, he was all right. He ended up playing a couple of weeks later. I think he only missed out on the one game, but yeah, real positive sign this game. Chol, Ginnivan, McDonald and Moore all kicking the 2 goals. Moving on to round 17 against the Cats. This was probably also one of our not so good games. It kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest. Going into it, obviously I think we'd won like 9 in a row, maybe, I think. And to be honest, I didn't think we were going to win this, but I definitely thought we had a chance considering our form. Mitch Lewis was back into the team. Obviously, Ginnivan was a late out and Sicily injured. Wasn't going to help us, and the Cats were just too good. Just never really looked like losing that game and ran away with it by 51 points and were just too good for us in the end. Hawthorn vs Freo. Round 18. This was a real statement win. I was watching this game and I feel like it was one of the most swinging games I'd ever seen. One minute the momentum was with Hawthorn, next Freo, next Hawthorn, and I thought the winner changed for me so many times. I feel like on who I thought was going to win during the game. Sicily ended up kicking the 3 goals on return. Got swung down forward. Bruce with the 2 goals and Will Day 24 touches, and same too with Warple. We definitely made it close in the end, but Nick Watson kicking that goal to seal it at the end was probably the highlight for me. Good win overall, and that was a really big one to keep our season alive. Next, round 19. This was one of my favourite games. And to be honest, I wasn't eased until maybe 3/4 time, a bit into the 4th quarter. Even though we were beating Collingwood by like 50 points, I just knew that Collingwood get 2-3 goals, they get a sniff. They are the comeback kings after all. I was quite nervous, but then I just realised we were going to win, and then I just soaked it up, and that 4th quarter was really fun to watch, I guess you could say, at the end there, and the amount of celebrations that we ended up doing in that game was quite incredible. Guinea's kiss of the jumper and then put the Pies to sleep, and then D'Ambrosio's one with Impey. Connor McDonald pulled out the rock sign, and that was just a great game. In the wet, we just simply outplayed the Pies. Ginnivan best on ground, 31 disposals and 2 goals against his old team was the highlight for me. And this was probably one of the best games we played all year. Moving on to round 20, we played the Crows. This one I was pretty confident. I thought that we didn't have it easy, but I definitely thought that we were going to win that game, especially with the Crows losing Jordan Dawson through the week due to concussion, I think it was. And then early on, the 1st quarter, it was a real back and forth game, and then Crows going in at quarter time winning it, and then it was really quite a stalemate until half time, and then we just broke loose and ended up winning it by 66 points. I don't know what changed there. Walker kicked 3 goals, Ginnivan kicked 2 there. But I don't really know what changed. I think Adelaide just went missing a bit in that second quarter. In the second half, sorry. And yeah, we were just able to run away with it. And that was the first game with Newcomb and Guinea's haircuts. So clearly it was helping. Round 21 was a real surprise for me. I didn't see us winning. Obviously, it was at this point that we had to win 3 out of our last 4 to win. And I was pretty confident we could do it. Having Richmond and North in the last 2 rounds, I thought we just needed to beat GWS or Carlton. And I looked at the score at half time. I wasn't watching it, and we were up by, I think, 25, 24 odd. And I was quite shocked because I didn't think that we were going to win that game. I thought Giants had it in the bag, especially being at Canberra. And then I just felt, I didn't want to feel it, but I just felt a Giants comeback and potentially a controversial finish there. Potentially the umpires favouring the Giants a fair bit in the last quarter is how I saw it. But yeah, they were just too good. Tom Green kicking the seal there. And yeah, real disappointing game. And I was devastated after that one. Next, round 22. We had to win this to keep our season alive, and if we didn't, it was simply curtains. And clearly they got it into the players. Sam Mitchell got it into the players' heads there, and we just came out, and we honestly never looked like losing. Quarter time, even game. 2 points in it, 3 goals 3 to 3 goals 5, and then the floodgates opened for us as soon as about a quarter of the way through. Second quarter, we just went bang, 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 and ended up winning that game by 74 points. And I looked at the score at the end, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely shocked on how much we won by in that game. So yeah, moving on to round 23 against the Tigers. This is probably the most confident I've been for a game in a long time. I thought Richmond didn't have a chance of beating us, and then they kicked the first goal, and I'm like, oh, a bit interesting. This is interesting. And then that was where the avalanche started. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goals in a row. 9 first quarter goals, and they were all in a row. 9 goals straight to 1 goal 1 at quarter time. Gunston kicked 5. That was probably the highlight for me. Then Will Day, obviously the negative, getting injured there. If we could have that moment back, then I think we definitely would, because that was a pivotal moment. Moving on to round 24. Against North, I think this one was just self-explanatory. 124-point win, scored 170. I think to score that much is just crazy. And Mabior Chol putting that one through from the boundary line, knowing that we were going into our first final since 2018 was just a great feeling. And yeah, that was a statement win there of the finest quality. Now, the final series commences. We had a week off. And going into this, the news was that Will Day wouldn't take part in this one. And then through the week, Cam Mackenzie did his hamstring, which was really disappointing. And I was so excited, obviously attending this game, lining up in that massive crowd to get a ticket there, to get a seat in the general admission in the members, and sitting right next to the Hawthorn race, as you can see by that shot that I posted. Yeah, it was crazy. It was just so loud. 97,000 in the house. My favourite highlight was probably, there was a lot. Deer's goal from the boundary was amazing. Nick Watts, Ginnivan's goal at the end there with the cracking the beer open. Nick Watson's goal right at the end. Newcomb's snap was amazing. There were so many good memories, and it was bloody loud there. Watson kicking 4, Newcombe 35 disposals. It was just all in all an amazing game, amazing atmosphere, an amazing result for us. And we went on to a semi-final, and now winning a final, there was no limits at all. We had the feeling we could go all the way. Now moving on to the semi-final, and this was the heartbreaking one to finish the season. Played Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. In the first quarter, they kind of just dominated us. And even though they were only up by 2 goals, and even though they were only up by 13 points, it still felt like they were on top. And then they kind of got away early in the second quarter, and we wrestled it back quite nicely, and it was a very even ball game at half time. And then at 3/4 time, it was still a stalemate during the third quarter, and it was quite even. And then, going to the fourth quarter, it was an absolute thriller. John Newcombe, again, with a massive finals performance, and then we just couldn't hold on. James Sicily with the shot there, hitting the post. Dylan Moore missed that snap that he'd kicked 9 times out of 10 there. But the highlight was definitely Bruce kicking a goal in his Rounders game, and all the players in the Adelaide Oval stand cheering him on. That was a great moment there, and just weren't able to get it done. And then, Ken Hinkley being a bit of a wanker there at the end, definitely made it hurt just a bit more. But what can you do? It's all in the game. I don't think he was in the wrong there, to be honest. I feel like he has every right to say what he wants, and he just needs to back it up. And they weren't able to the next week, so shame on them. What a season it was. Making it all the way to a semi-final, coming nearly so close to playing in a preliminary final. Definitely a lot of highlights in this season, and I just can't wait to get season 2025 started. I feel like 2024 was a chapter. It was written, it got exciting, and it's come to an end now, and I can't wait to start the next chapter here of 2025 season. So I'll see you all in the next video. Go Hawks!